Okay, this is going to be a video response to Miss Elite. She just made a video. However, this topic I wanted to touch on for a very, very long time. And it's about, the anger that people have about transgender women in sports against women, natural born women, and vice versa, a transgender woman to man in sports against men. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that every man is not stronger than every woman, and vice versa. There are cases where women have trained and it's conditioning. So when people think that genetically men are stronger than women, in some cases, possibly, it depends on the genes. But in other cases, no, because there are men who are not strong. They don't condition their body. They don't weightlift. They don't do any kind of strenuous activity to build muscle mass. And so would those men be stronger than a woman bodybuilder who conditions herself and lifts 300 plus pounds, deadlifts? Would he be stronger than her? No. So, the thing I wanted to say is that when people are against, the transgender woman to man or man to woman, you're setting women back. And I'll tell you how you're setting natural born women back, because there are natural born women who can do jobs just the same as men do. There are natural born women that are not transgender who can be firefighters, police officers. They can do a lot of strenuous carpenters. They can be in the building industry. They're just as strong as men. And when you tell women, you're basically putting a ceiling on a woman, and whether the ceiling is on yourself and you feel for yourself that you live a very feminine life, quote unquote, and that you like to wear high heels, dress up, do this, do that, and that you like men to do things for you, and to be the so-called quote unquote protector, which is kind of a joke nowadays because men aren't protecting any women too much. Aside from their own families, if they see stuff happening in the streets, a lot of them just walk on by and they don't do anything. Okay, so you set women who can do those type of things. You're setting a ceiling upon her. You set a ceiling upon a woman that's in sports that goes against a transgender woman. You're saying that she physically cannot beat that transgender woman. Do you see where I'm going with this? You're telling women they have a limit. You're telling women that even though they train every single day, 6 to 14 hours a day for the sport they're in, you're telling them they can absolutely not beat a transgender person that is man to female, or vice versa. If it's a woman who transgender to be a man, you're saying she can't beat a man in a certain sport. You're putting ceilings. You're putting a ceiling on that woman, and basically you're putting a ceiling on yourself. You're basically saying that you can't do anything. Like, you might as well not even go out there and get a scholarship from high school. You might as well not go to college. You might as well not become a scientist. You might as well not become a CEO of a corporation, because you're saying women can't do it. You're saying women can't compete. Can all women compete in all fields? No. Just like all men can't compete in all fields either. There are levels to strength within the male population and gender population that some men can do and some men can't do. My thing is, you're making it so women who actually train for those things or study for those things or whatever they're doing, they're trying to accomplish, you're saying there's a ceiling, that they can't do it. Why do you want to hold other women back? If that's not your forte and that's not your thing, and you don't want to train as an Olympiad, or you don't want to train as a world class weightlifter as a female, as a woman, a natural born woman, that's fine. But don't tell women who actually want to do those things, or young girls growing up who want to do those things, that there's a ceiling and there's no way in hell that they can do it or accomplish it. That's setting women back. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And yeah, the video is of a woman getting her arm snapped from doing arm wrestling with a man, but I've arm wrestled lots of men in my younger years that I've beaten. When I was a young girl, I used to weight train. I used to be in bodybuilding. I used to do all that stuff when I was younger. And there's a lot of men that aren't as strong as women. Point blank, period. Yes, I feel sorry for the woman that got her arm snapped, her bone snapped from this guy. I saw how they were doing this arm wrestling, and her positioning was all fucking wrong. And that's why her arm snapped. Nobody's talking about that. Her arm snapped because it was positioned improperly. Her angle was improper. And the guy that was going against her arm wrestling, he knew that. He knew that. Because I saw his body. I saw his positioning. Anyways, I just wanted to say that don't hold other women back just because you feel you're not stronger than a man, which is possibly true. And you can have that femininity. You can be that type of woman. But don't tell women who want to skydive, jumping out of airplanes or jumping off a cliff for Olympic type diving, that they can't do stuff like that. Just because you can't do it or other women can't do it doesn't mean that there aren't women who are conditioned or have been, training for years and years and years and years. Don't tell them they can't do it, because they absolutely can. And like I said, strength training it's conditioning. And a lot of the reasons why men are stronger than women in the past is because men were doing very hard labor jobs, okay, and women weren't. Men were lifting things out of off train tracks, railroad ties, and doing stuff like that. So they had been conditioning their bodies to be stronger for generations upon generations. Now, what's it going to look like in 50 years from now when men are on video games? They don't get out of the house. They don't do anything. They don't train their body. They don't go to the gym. They don't do anything, right? What do you think their strength is going to look like in 50 years? What do you think a woman that has been bodybuilding, and her mother's been bodybuilding, and her grandmother's been bodybuilding, and then her daughter starts bodybuilding, don't you think she's going to be stronger than those men in the future? My comment is yes. It's all about conditioning. Anyways, please don't set women back.